Hey everyone. The plagues that afflicted the medieval world, such as the Black Death of 1346, are well known. But what of the plagues that devastated ancient empires such as Rome and Greece? Today, let's know about the deadly plagues of the ancient world. Let's start the video, but before that, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. The plague of Athens, the Antonine Plague, and other epidemics of antiquity may not be as famous as the Black Death, but to the people of the time, they wrought horror unimaginable. The Plague of Athens may be the first recorded by an eyewitness, but we know that plague has existed for thousands of years. Several skeletons discovered in Britain dating back to around 3000 BC had traces of Yersinia pestis, which is the bacteria that causes plague, in their teeth. Ancient human genomes from skeletons uncovered in the Eurasian steppe were analyzed, and 7% of the remains had traces of plague. The period during which they lived coincided with the dramatic population crash in Europe. The ancient civilization of Greece and Rome are generally regarded as more enlightened than medieval Europe. Yet, when it came to plague, the vaunted rationality of ancient philosophers went out the window. They were every bit as superstitious about plague as the medieval world. Even ancient Greek historians Herodotus attributed plague to the wrath of the gods. The expansion of trade enabled the plague to spread through the ancient world. Major trade hubs such as Constantinople and Athens felt the brunt. China and North Africa seem to be the two primary origin points of the plague. Variants that originated in China traveled along the Silk Road, the major trade route of the time, to Europe. The Plague of Athens. From 429 to 426 BC, locked in war with their rival city-state of Sparta, Athenians were ordered by their general Pericles to retreat behind the city walls. But now they had to contend with the foe within. The plague, which had originated in Ethiopia, was brought to the city on ships docking at the port of Piraeus. It proceeded to tear through the congested population. The historian Thucydides recorded the reaction of the calamity. People were throwing themselves into wells to escape the thirst brought on by the fever. Others begged for water but could not keep it down. He reported that people abandoned their religious and civic responsibilities, even refusing to conduct funeral rites. He declared that the plague demonstrated the futility of belief in the gods. Pericles himself died from the plague, and Athens ultimately fell to Sparta, in no small part due to the damage inflicted by the epidemic. The Antonine Plague. From 165 to 90 BC approximately, the plague believed to have originated in China and arrived in Rome via the Silk Road, wrought havoc on the Roman Empire during the reign of Marcus Aurelius, who was named after Antonine, who was the emperor's family name. Marcus Aurelius is considered as one of the most enlightened rulers in history. Yet, the plague brought out the worst in him as he blamed Christians for the outbreak. Despite his accusations, Christianity actually grew in popularity as its followers played the biggest role in caring for the afflicted. Aurelius himself died from the plague in a military camp, which is unsurprising as the Roman army was especially hard hit and Roman troops fleeing to the city brought the disease with them. The plague killed an estimated 2,000 people per day, devastated the Roman army, and contributed to the decline of an already weakened empire. The Plague of Cyprian. Named after Saint Cyprian, the cleric who recorded it, the Cyprian plague may have been an early variant of the bubonic plague that caused the Black Death. It's also believed to have originated in China and spread via the Silk Road. The Roman Empire was already in serious decline by this point, which is why records are sparse and the exact death toll of the plague is unknown, although it was reported to have killed 5,000 people a day. The Plague of Justinian. In 330 AD, Roman Emperor Constantine divided the empire into a western and eastern portion, with the capital of the east being Constantinople. Historians refer to the Eastern Empire as the Byzantine Empire. In the 6th century, a devastating plague hit the Byzantine Empire during the reign of Emperor Justinian. It is believed to be an early variant of the bubonic plague, and it's not known whether it originated in China or Ethiopia. Historian Procopius described bodies being tossed onto the street to rot and attributed the plague to the sins of Justinian. The army was employed to dig mass graves, so rampant was the spread. The rural areas were experiencing particularly cold weather at the time, prompting people to migrate to the city in large numbers, exasperating the spread of the plague. In the end, 20 to 40% of the population of Constantinople and 23% of the population of the Byzantine Empire had been wiped out by the disease. There were occasional resurgences over the course of the next 2 centuries, after which the plague disappeared entirely, only to return and devastate Europe a century later. The Roman Plague. During the 590 AD, an already weakened Roman Empire experienced calamity in the form of what was believed to be another outbreak of the Justinian plague. Pope Gregory the Great attributed the plague to God's wrath and decreed the Rome citizens march through the streets in penitence and beg for salvation from the Virgin Mary. Unfortunately, this only exacerbated the situation as people collapsed and died during the march. In the end, the plague helped cripple an empire that was already on the verge of collapse. The cause of the plague largely remained a mystery until Alexandre Yersin, a student of Louis Pasteur, discovered the Yersinia pestis bacteria in 1894. The bacteria is carried by rodents and transmitted to humans by flea bites. Plagues still surface occasionally, with Madagascar, Peru, and Congo being the most plague-endemic countries. Improved sanitation and modern antibiotics have played a significant role in combating plague, rendering it an affliction we now associate with the superstition and primitive medicines of the Middle Age. Well, that's it for today. I hope you're liking Nerdies discoveries. Can't wait for the next video to learn more and be fascinated about. See you on the next. Bye.